Hey everybody, welcome to Sid's Little Corner of the Internet. We've got a Star Wars review coming your way. This time around we're going to be taking a look at the Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron Boba Fett's Starship. So as we always do, let's go ahead and look at that packaging first. We'll bring it on in. You've got the Star Wars logo, launch edition right there. Micro Galaxy Squadron Series 1 Boba Fett Starship. A little bit of artwork over here on the side. A little bit more artwork over here on the back. You've got some features and product shots and clip and save blueprints if you want to. But it shows you off a couple things that it can do. Tells you again it's Boba Fett Starship. And then collect them all, right? Alright, and on this side, go a couple more features. And up top, Star Wars. Down low, you get that. So, there you go. So let's go ahead and get into what came inside that box. Behold, laid out here before you is everything that came inside that box. And it's really not a lot. My copy didn't even come with a little sheet of warnings that I've kind of grown accustomed to. It didn't come with an instruction sheet, anything like that. It just came with this. So really what you get is the ship and two figures. So let's go ahead and start over here. Now this is Fennic Shand. So let's go ahead and bring Fennic in and try to get as much of a good look as possible. So I don't think that Fennic is done as well as Boba Fett, nor is she done as well as the figures that came with the Millennium Falcon. So just kind of basic, black and orange, kind of has that hat, kind of gives you the impression of who it is. But yeah, that's about it. Now, as far as articulation, both these figures, the arms come up, legs come up, and that's pretty much what they're limited to, but these are really tiny figures. That doesn't bother me at all. So, Fennic Shand is okay. Let's go ahead and get to the better figure. Oh, also Fennic Shand doesn't want to stand very well. So, surprisingly, for figures that are this small, they're usually pretty stable. But she's definitely not as stable as Boba Fett is. So let's go ahead and bring Boba Fett in now. He's definitely the better figure here. And he also comes with a little bit of a bonus that we'll see here shortly. So there he is. Pretty good detail for a figure this size. I really think that he came out looking all right. And if you come around to the back, what do we have here? He comes with his little rocket pack. So that's really cool. And the rocket pack is removable. Not sure what you would want to do with it, but you can take the rocket pack off if you want and give him a more slimmed down look. So that rocket pack itself is just a basic molded green plastic. Not a lot going on there. Still, as I've said, for something this size, pretty darn cool. So stick that back on. And come on, stick it back on. Yep, let's do this on camera. There we go. All right. So now he's got his backpack or his little rocket pack back on, looking pretty good. So there you go. So now that we have the only two accessories out of the way, now we will turn our attention toward the main event back here, which is Boba Fett's ship. And here we have the main event. This is a Boba Fett's Starship. So two things before we go any further. Number one, apologies if I sound a little different. I'm a little bit under the weather right now, so I'm fighting through a little bit of a nasal issue. And number two, I'm old enough to remember when Boba Fett's Starship had a different name. I think it's long been put into the memory hole now, and we're not supposed to talk about what that name used to be. But there it is. So for those of you who know, you know. But yeah, I wanted to throw it on the turntable here so you could get a nice 360-degree unobstructed view of the ship and just see all the incredible amount of detail that they put into a ship this size and at this price point. I think they've done a pretty good job here with what we have. The weathering and the paint all looks really good. So there you go. Now what we'll do is we'll get this turntable out of the way, and we'll open this up and we'll talk about some of the features that comes with Boba Fett's Starship. So unfortunately, Boba Fett's Starship doesn't have any lights or sounds like the Millennium Falcon did, but this is at a lower price point. And I think what it comes with is still a pretty good overall value for what you're paying for. And I'm going to get the coolest gimmick out of the way. This is one that I just wasn't expecting. I mean, it makes perfect sense, but I wasn't expecting it. So I'm going to open this cockpit just to give you a better view. So you have the cockpit there. And as you know, Boba Fett's Starship takes off like this, but then rotates to fly like this. And looky there, that cockpit rotates. So it's just got a weight in there, nothing incredibly fancy, but it's just got that weight in there that when you turn this, the cockpit angles so the figures are sitting properly. I just think that's really cool. So let's go ahead and turn it back this way now and focus on that cockpit for a minute. So you can see you have that main seat right up here for Boba Fett or whoever's driving. And then you've got two seats back here, so you can throw Fennic Shand in the back or Obi-Wan or whoever you want. I don't think Han Solo is ever going to get to sit in this part. I think he's got other areas of Boba Fett's Starship where he is stored. So, but yeah, that cockpit looks pretty good overall. I like the fact that the wings tilt as well. So when you move it, those wings go down, those wings go up. So really cool attention to detail there. And then you've got these guns down here, so you can angle them up that far, down that far. And I do have one that's just a little bit looser. This one's pretty tight. This one is just a little on the loose side, so it's really easy to knock this one out of that symmetrical look, if you will. So moving on, now we'll take a look at the back here. Now you do have a little landing strip, or I don't know, whatever you want to call it, where you pull this out. And then that gives the occupants a chance to walk out on this. So as it lands, there you go. All right. And then right here, you can open this area up. So you've just got a little latch down here. You stick your fingernail in there and then lift that up. And then you look at that. You have his arsenal. So it would have been really cool if you would have gotten a Han Solo in Carbonite, but you don't get one unless you want to say that side. And he's just a really flat Solo. But at least you get that arsenal, which is kind of cool. All right, and then to open this back, you just give that a little push, and then you have a latch right here. So then you can open that up. And there you have the Boba Fett's Starship all opened up and ready to do some exploration. Now, as far as interactivity with the figures, I mean, there's really not a lot that you can do, nowhere near as much as what you can do as with the Millennium Falcon. But, you know, you can have them walk and do, and then walk up in there and have them stand in there if you want. You, of course, can put them in the cockpit. So the one thing that I will say is these seats are designed to hold the figures very securely. And I'm guessing that was trial and error, because if you look down here, if you lose a figure down there, it's probably not the easiest thing in the world to get back to. So probably a good thing that the figures fit really securely. So you got to have small fingers. It helps if you have tiny fingers. So I'm going to try this, and if I struggle on camera, I'm just going to do an edit and show you them in the seat. There's really no trick to it other than just getting your big old fingers out of the way and getting them plugged into the seats. I think that's what I'll do. I'm not going to waste your time or mine. I'm just going to do an edit here, and then through that magic, we'll see them in the seats. Hey, all right, through the magic of video editing, we have Fennic Shand and Boba Fett sitting securely in those seats. So let's take a look, see what that looks like. Pop that open and take a look. You can see they sit nice and secure in there. Bring this up. And there you go. Nice thing is, even if you go upside down, shake it, they're not coming out. They're not going anywhere. They're nice and secure. So I like what they've done with the seats there. It's a little bit better than the Millennium Falcon for sure. So yeah, there you go. That's all the details and features for Boba Fett's Starship. So what we'll do now is we'll get into comparisons, and we'll start with figure comparisons first, and then we'll move on to the ship comparisons. So we're not going to spend a lot of time here on those figure comparisons. Just wanted to bring a couple figures in to give you a sense of that scale. So on the left is a Lego Stormtrooper. On the right is a Black Series Boba Fett. So you can see what we're working with here as far as size and scale goes. So these are really tiny figures. For our first ship comparison, here we see Boba Fett's Starship on the left, and on the right is Rey's speeder from The Force Awakens. So you can see what we're dealing with here as far as scale goes. Moving on to our next comparison, this is the Hot Wheels version of Boba Fett's Starship. And for our final comparison, on the left, of course, is Boba Fett's Starship. On the right is Solar Storm Grapple, because Transformers, that's why. Hey, real quick, I can't believe I almost forgot to show you guys a couple more things, a couple more features on this. I'm going to blame it on the medicine. That's definitely what I'm going to go with. So, thing number one, this was really just a point of curiosity. I don't know how you would use it, but it's there, so why not take advantage if you can? If you notice, we have these ports right there. Now, I don't know if it was by design or not, but look what you can do with them. What? You can use blast effects. They fit in perfectly. So this is just perfect. So very cool. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure what you would do with that, but it's there if you want to use it. And then, I can't believe it, I didn't even cover the bottom. Let's cover the bottom. So look at all this detail you have down there. Just tremendous amounts of detail. I feel slightly ashamed that I forgot to show this earlier. So really good attention to detail. And if you flip this down, you can release a mine. So, well, not really. I mean, it's just molded in, but you could pretend to release a mine. So yeah, very cool. Wanted to make sure I got those in the review. And really happy I finally remembered. All right, so let's go ahead and get into those final thoughts now. So there you have the Star Wars Micro Galaxy Squadron Boba Fett Starship with Fennec Shand and Boba Fett included. I think overall what they're doing here is really cool. I like this Micro Galaxy Squadron line. Between the Millennium Falcon and this, I'm bought in, no doubt about it. So that's the real brief overview. We can jump in a little bit into those bullets. I'm not going to go into as much detail as I normally do with the Transformers, but this is definitely worth a visit here with those bullets. Starting with the overall aesthetics, yeah, it has it for sure. Especially the exterior, the paint apps, the weathering, and everything on the exterior of the ship looks really good. The figures, they're really small, so how much can you actually expect from them? At least you get some paint on them. You could definitely tell who they are. Boba Fett is better than Fennec Shand for sure, but you can still differentiate between the two. I think that it could have used a little bit more paint on the interior areas, particularly the cockpit and then that back cargo area. But it's not really a huge detraction at all. And I think overall, for the size of what you get here, for the literal scale, you get something that looks absolutely fantastic. Kind of like what I said with the Millennium Falcon. You get something that looks like this without having to put all the work in yourself. So job very well done there. Articulation, it's the figures are okay. You can move the arms, you can move the legs, and then you've got some good points of movement on the ship itself. And I absolutely adore the fact that on Boba Fett's Starship, that when you take off and you go from this horizontal to the vertical stature, that the cockpit moves with it. So I think that's really cool. As far as the accessories go, the only accessories are the two figures. It's good enough for me. The fact that Boba Fett has a removable rocket pack, not sure what you're going to do with that if you take it off of his back other than lose it, but hey, you've got it. And the fact that whether it's inadvertent or by design, they're blast effect compatible. Or at least these ships are. So yeah, very cool on that as well. Overall, quality, I don't have any issues with this. The biggest thing that I can say is I've got a paint smudge on the cockpit. So actually right up there. So there's a paint smudge on that the translucent cockpit area. But other than that, I don't have any issues. Everything works the way it's supposed to. Everything looks about as good as you can expect it to at this scale. Nothing was missing. So yeah, overall, I think the quality is really good. And getting to our last bullet, which I think is the most important here, the overall value. I think the value's there. I really do. I think for the Millennium Falcon it was, and I think for this set it is as well. You get some really cool figures. You get a whole ton of playability. just all kinds of things that you can do, limited only by your own imagination here. So I think that there's definitely a high value ratio for these sets. So for me, I have no regrets picking this up. I found this at a local Target in North America for $32 US, and it wasn't that bad. I didn't mind paying $32 for this. I really do think the value is there. So with that, that's going to wrap the review up. I hope you guys got some good information. I hope you were entertained. And if you haven't already done so, be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. And feel free to leave some comments and let me know what you think about this line. I'd be really interested to hear your guys' thoughts on this, because this has me very excited. It has me feeling like a kid again. So with that, that's going to wrap it up. So until we see you guys in the next review, take care.